yeah, we just start talking. We don't really have like any kind of,
set
intro
thing.
thing. Yeah, we don't got a set thing. We just go, and then we pretend like we were talking before.
Wait, so who are you people? How am I in a screen right now? What's happening?
Yeah, who are you? There's another person in here.
I'm on the internet?
And then there was a third.
Uh-oh.
So
We just keep growing.
The Terminid control system did a little bit more than any of us expected.
I'm Mike.
I'm the Lito. And who's this? Introduce yourself, sir.
I am the Skull Admiral Matthew.
The Skull Admiral Matthew.
Yes.
Now, on YouTube, somebody commented, and it brought to my attention that not everybody's going to know what a Skull Admiral is.
So that's actually the first thing I would want to just point out to somebody in general, because Skull Admiral is level 50. I believe it was the same in the first game as well. But I do want to say that just because someone who's level 50 jumps into your party, that doesn't mean that the rank means absolutely nothing, because we are all just fodder to the war. We are all just cogs in what can ultimately be interpreted as a fascist machine. I'm not gonna.
Oh, for sure.
And
100%.
And the Wait What episode where I was just listening to you guys sort of start to figure this out in real time. Like, oh yeah, no, this is colonialism. This is all of that. And at the same time, we are just flies under a tire in this war.
Yeah. We're all like Mongo says, we are just pawns in game of life.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, so we're going to celebrate another 5, and that's our 5th episode.
Happy 5th!
So, yeah.
Yes.
Well, we made it all the way to 5.
Number 5 is alive.
Yep.
Wow. I am amongst people in my own age group. I love this.
What?
I went there.
Mr. Johnny 5, he danced it, he talk it, he drank champagne.
No disrespect.
Remember when Steve Gutenberg was a big Hollywood player?
Dude.
So yeah, episode number 5
is alive.
We're back. We're kicking it. We're kicking teeth in. We're knocking down doors. We're breaking molds. Actually, I don't know if we're doing any of that, but it sounds good.
Sure.
All right. So, Matthew, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about the background of you and Helldivers, and just lay it on us, man.
So, background about me, I am a healthcare worker. I'm an X-ray tech that works in neurointerventional radiology for a hospital in Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Iowa. I play a lot of video games. I watch a lot of movies. I love music a lot. And
do you like Slipknot?
No, no, no. I never have, and I don't think me not liking something doesn't mean I think it's bad. It just means I don't like it. Cool. When I used to actually drive a semi for a big soda company, you might have heard of it. It's called Pepsi. And a coworker of mine was a roadie for Slipknot, so I met them. And we were all of us were just kind of immediately turned off by each other, which is fine. We all walk our own path. So I'm originally from Iowa, and I like Helldivers a whole heck of a lot. Funny tidbit about me is I'm a big Souls game player. I also like roguelikes a lot. And I think playing both of those things factors in a way of enjoying Helldivers. And when I started talking to both of you and playing a couple of times with you, because we haven't seen each other online in a bit, responsibility gets in the way.
It happens.
But one of the things I always say is, like, always try things. And I think if you're being informed by like roguelikes and the Souls series, Bloodborne and all those, they give the impression that they are like impenetrable and difficult, but just like anything, just like any subject in school that you had problems with in high school, a lot of the time, if you just sat down and try and engage with it the way I say the way it's supposed to be engaged with, but like if you start to engage with it with a certain amount of respect, you get better at it. And I feel like Helldivers is no different.
You got to do the work.
No, well, I don't want to say that, because there does come a time where you are beating your head against a wall, and that's not for everybody. Like at some point, that's not fun. But if you are engaging with the material on a level of respect and whatnot, you tend to get more out of it in a good way rather than a bad way. And like being informed by roguelikes, if you fail a Helldivers mission, there's a chance to learn. It may not feel like you've made progress, but if you learn something and you take something into the next mission, that's progress.
Can I share a short story?
Of course.
Not to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
Mike and I were playing as a third person, and it was at the very end of the mission. I had 6 rare samples, which don't shake your head, Mike, please. You're making me feel better now. I had 6 rare. That's a lot for us.
Sure, no.
And Mike was in the ship already, ready to take off. I'm right there at the ramp, but then my other guy he's sitting there. He's about to get killed, and I go to help him, and I have the wrong gun out, and I get killed, and I lose all the samples
because the ship took off with me in it.
Yeah. And I was right there at the ramp, and Mike gave me a stern.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, but we agreed that from now on, getting the samples out is more important than getting everybody else out. Like because we all get the samples if one person extracts.
You're both right. You're both right, but also that's just the game. That's Helldivers.
Yeah. I mean, no man left behind, but man, when it's like a guy and samples, let's try to get those samples.
Samples win.
I've been playing the automatons a bit lately, and I don't really do Helldives unless I'm in. I don't really do.
You've done Helldives?
Yeah, I don't really do Helldives unless I'm in a group of at least if there's 4 people and 3 of us are talking. I feel comfortable going into a Helldive in that situation. Okay. Doesn't mean we have to have played together. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to. You need to bounce ideas in real time off of people to sort of survive.
You got to communicate.
Yeah.
But there was recently, as a lot of the community might know, there are a lot of crashes are happening for whatever reason. Yeah. I think the main thing right now is they're trying to fix the arc weapons, and please, they should. We absolutely carpet bombed this map. We got all the fabricators done. We got all of the extra objectives done, and we got. I want to say we had 90% of the samples, all the super rares, all but 2 rares, and like all but 5 commons. And then one by one, all of us started to drop out until I was the only one left holding all of the samples. Whoa. And then I've gone prone. I'm a little bit elevated compared to the rest of the automatons, and I'm just watching them walk around. And I don't know what eventually happened, but eventually they figured I didn't do anything. At least I don't remember doing anything, but they figured out where I was, and it was over. No. But funny story, if you just wait for the mission clock to end, that triggers the chopper to show up. But if you go there and you're just waiting at the extraction site, once the mission clock ends, the laser beam goes up, and then all of the automatons started congregating around like the terminal for the extraction site. But they started shooting at it. just indiscriminately, and I'm just like watching them going, "You're shooting at nothing, stupid robot." it was one of those things, and then just all of a sudden, I think like a Hulk or something caught a glimpse of me, and then everybody knew where I was, and I'm like, I'm gonna try and run, and I lasted maybe 15 seconds. It wasn't good.
No way.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh man. We did a mission, and you taught us a little something. When we're extracting, lay down, don't move, don't make any noise, and the bugs. I don't know if there were bugs at the time, but they did not come after us. They didn't. It was like
It kind of depends on where they end up walking, like their path, because I've tried that a few times when I was by myself, and they just like crawled right over a ridge, right to where I was, and that alarmed everybody. But it does work.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it works.
Yeah, it worked that time.
Yeah.
So with that, I think it's time to start our mentorship program. What do you think?
I think so.
Okay.
So we asked our last episode, which was like a couple of days ago, by the way.
Yes.
And people have responded, so it's pretty awesome. We let them know you were coming on the show, and they asked the questions. And one of the questions we got was, have you played the first game before?
Yes, I have played. I played the first game a lot, and I prefaced the whole Souls thing because Bloodborne came out the same year as the first game, and as much as I love those games, and Bloodborne is one of the best in that group of games, Helldivers 1 was my game of the year. Not necessarily because I used to host, like I've hosted several video game podcasts in my time. When I was doing that, I was the one just bleeding on about Helldivers 1, and I think the podcast I had at the time might still be on YouTube, but it was called the Platinum Achievement Podcast. And one of the hosts actively said, I want to hear about anything but Helldivers from you. So that's how much I loved the first game.
It's funny you mentioned it because I'll forget this later. Mike, what did I say about this game like a few days after playing it? Do you remember?
Not specifically, no.
Okay. I said this is
the
probably
trauma of war has gotten to Mike.
This is probably the game of the year for me,
Oh, yeah. Easily.
It's off and running for me
right
as well. But there was actually a group of folks I was running with at a time, and they asked like, so how did you get on to Helldivers 2? I'm like, I played the first game. They're like, oh wow, you're the first person we've heard say that. Whoa. I'm like, oh well, let me tell you some tales of the first Galactic War, child. Like the first game is very different. The first game looks like more of an indie game by comparison to this. But one of the things I think is really interesting is playing the first game. While the stories I would talk about in missions in the first game didn't necessarily look like the spectacle that I would paint them as, because it's a top-down shooter that, for lack of a better term, looks very indie. It's not a graphic powerhouse or anything like that.
Right.
But what Helldivers 2 does, it looks and feels like the way playing the first game made me feel.
Absolutely.
The updates they've made and the changes that they've done, like Eagle 1 was not in the first game. Everything was just a stratagem. Everything was dropped down from your ship. It all feels logical. It all feels like a better way to play the first game, and it also looks amazing. So
I have to agree.
I think that it's kind of the best way to sequelize a franchise that I've seen, probably.
Cool.
Unless you want to talk about like how they do Mario games, because Nintendo's just on another level. Like that's just, we don't need to go there.
No, I agree with you 100%, Matthew, because having played the first game, that's what I've said to Lito and to other people that I've talked about the game with, is it's basically the first game. Like you get the same feel as the first game. It's just way better.
Yeah.
It's like they just took the first game and made it even more fun and awesome.
And it's funny like they knew. It's weird how much they knew what they had in the first game.
Yeah.
Like it was a buddy of mine who he and I, we met playing Rocket League, but we became friends playing Helldivers.
Oh.
We would talk about, like, he would be really ready for a sequel. And I'm like, but what do you do to make Helldivers 2? Like the first game for me was, I know there's no such thing as perfect, but like if I had to pick a perfectly made game, I feel like that was it in terms of what it was. Is it Tetris perfect? No, but what is? This is probably the only way you do that, is you just take all of the bones from the first game and then enrich its skeleton per se. Like you put more you put more stuff on it without necessarily just ham-fisting a whole bunch of new ideas. Right. Because like the dialogue that they use was in there, like how about a nice cup of Liberty was in it.
I love that.
Like for freedom, like all of that stuff was present in the first game.
You're saying if you loved Helldivers 2,
the first game is definitely worth a shot. Like
nice.
if you might not like a top-down kind of twin-stick shooter situation, that doesn't mean it's a bad game. That's more subjective than it is objective.
Cool.
Arrowhead is way more interactive this time out, and I think everybody from the CEO down at that company is sort of all in on the idea. And that's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
You bring up Arrowhead real quick. Are you familiar? I believe you said something else that you're familiar with their other titles, or do they have?
Yes, they did. They did a Magica game. I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 that they did, because I never actually played it, because I only played console at the time. The Magica game that was made by Arrowhead was only on PC, I believe. But I also played their remake of Gauntlet.
Oh.
And their remake of Gauntlet is very Helldivers in a weird way.
Yeah, I can see that. It's four player, you know.
They also did that fourth wall breaking meta where at one point in Helldivers you walked into Gauntlet somehow. It was like they've done some wild things with this franchise, and it's really cool.
Awesome. I just gotta say, I gotta reach out to Co-Gamer. He's been really active on emails and everything. He's the one who supplied that first question. We're gonna be playing with him and his wife pretty soon. Mike, we got a date actually set up.
Okay. Oh, nice. You'd love to see it. Love to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Wife and husband duo playing games. So the next question here is coming from Ken, and it says, how do you use the exosuit to make it useful? Seems like it really struggles against the bots.
And that's my recollection as it was in the first game too. And I feel like, see, the mechs in the first game were ultimately masses of tinfoil with heavy arms on them. Like that's really what they were. You could do a bug helldive in the first one with that exo suit. If you went against the Illuminate, like they found the Illuminate had ways of dealing with you, and the cyborgs, which are essentially the automatons, dealt with you even quicker if you were in that slow moving mech. Unfortunately, in my experience, and I haven't messed with the mech as much, like considering it was my little buddy in the first game. I played with the mech way too much. My friends hated me in it, and that's okay. I have not learned that either. If I will keep trying. If I come up with anything, I will find a way to get an answer to you. But I personally, against the automatons, I just wouldn't use it. The beauty of this time out is you really have to change it up depending on what you're going against. And unfortunately, the automatons, they like to shoot back, and they have rockets.
So annoying.
They have rockets way earlier.
Yeah, those rocket guys are...
They mean.
Yeah.
They mean.
They are not very friendly.
No, they are not.
All right, we got another one here from Scott, and he says, what was your best Sweet Liberty No moments?
Oh, boy. Okay, immediately, I'm going to talk about the first game again. There was a motorcycle in the first game.
What?
Yeah. Wait, what? That's one. There was a motorcycle, and a buddy of mine, it was his first time playing with the crew that I was running with. I said, hey, I'm going to bring in the motorcycle. Who wants to ride with me? And he's like, I'll ride with you. Why not? It's a motorcycle. Literally got on, and I don't know what happened in the moment, but I ended up driving into a crater off a cliff. And all of us were sort of laughing at how stupid that was. And that was my only 3 seconds on the motorcycle that I ever did. But I will say this now. Joel, our beloved CEO, please bring the motorcycle back so I can do it again. But that was from the first game. I haven't really had many Sweet Liberty No moments, mainly because most of the time when I die in a game, I'm not as frustrated as I would have been 9 years ago in Helldivers 1 because I understand the joke. Most of the time when I die, I laugh now. I'm like, I'm stupid. I got myself into that situation. Yeah, I did that. Or there was one where I was in a crew and they're like, does anybody else see this? There's like 10 Bile Titans here. I'm like, yeah. And we would slowly we would slowly like run and use the rail cannon strike or the orbital laser. If, I was rocking the rail gun because you could deal with them. You could deal with that many that way. But a lot of the time that was because we had kind of messed around in the mission for a very long time. And none of us were like super bothered by the scene at the time.
This is a sneak peek into where, like where this game goes to. Like, I've never seen that.
I can't imagine that many Bile Titans.
They've sort of toned it down because there were times where your first bug breach would spawn a Bile Titan. You're like, that doesn't seem right. like, I didn't expect you to bring Mr. T to a schoolyard fight. Like, come on.
Were we playing together when we killed our first Bile Titan? Were we together? And was that the game? Was he around, Mike? Do you remember?
I don't.
My pod killed it.
Yeah, I think that was me.
You were there.
Yeah,
that was you. So that was my first Bile Titan.
I'm like, here, I'm gonna respawn. You just aim at that big guy. You should be fine. And then it killed it. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, that's a pro move.
Mm-hmm. The first time I have a video somewhere. The first time I did that, and I was so happy. I screamed so loud. My partner came down and yelled at me because I almost woke up the kid. So
don't do that.
No, sir. No, it's a bad time.
Yeah, we've worked really hard for this quiet.
But if I will say this right now, if my son had woken up, I would have been like, worth it.
Spoken like a true gamer dad.
It's a true Helldiver. The Bile Titan died. Everything is fine.
Nice. So our last question comes from Cryo. What support weapon should I use against the automatons?
Honestly, you can use whatever you want. That's sort of the beauty of this game. There are sort of considerations you have to think about. I feel like if you're going to bring a stalwart to the automatons, you have to be
like this guy.
You have to be able to aim.
Yeah, no, I can't.
I know a lot of people are still complaining about the railgun problem, which is, I'm going to say it's not that big of a deal. They didn't nerf it beyond viability. You can still completely play with the railgun, and the railgun is the one that I use against the automatons.
Cool.
For two reasons. One, I haven't tried an EAT since the patch.
EAT 17.
Yes, EAT 17.
Love that name.
But I haven't tried that since the patch, but pre-patch, it was bouncing off of Hulk armor.
Easy.
So I hate
seeing stuff bounce off armor.
I just remember I'm like, oh, there's a Hulk near you. I got it with my bazooka here. You just see the round hit the thing's shoulder and kill my buddy. And he's like, I thought you were gonna shoot the Hulk. I'm like, I did. It bounced off you. And she was like, why did you do that? I didn't know it was going to happen that way. I had grander plans. It didn't work out. That's Helldivers. But you really can take any support weapon you want. You just have to be able to use what you have in a way that will that will set you up for success.
But you personally prefer the railgun.
I still use the railgun.
Okay. In unsafe mode.
In unsafe mode, because you can use it in safe mode for anything menial. You cannot use it for like Devastators or Hulks or the tanks or the giant turrets that are around or the mortar encampments that are around. You need to put it in unsafe, charge it to the point where it'll charge it to where it about kill. It's weird how using the railgun is almost like doing a very dangerous drug. You have to use it right to the point where you will die, but you don't die. You kill other people.
And how do you know where that point is?
So do you know how to put the game in first person mode?
Yes.
When you aim.
No, yeah.
So you do that and you can sort of see the meter charge.
Although for those of us out there who don't know how to do that, how do we do that, Matthew?
I don't know how to do it on PC. I usually play it on my Steam Deck, and I haven't played it on my Steam Deck in a few weeks. So it's just been a little bit, but on PlayStation is you push in the right joystick.
Yeah, I use a controller on PC, so that's the way I do it. So
real quick, is that installed on your Steam Deck or is that something you remote play?
It is installed on my Steam Deck.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I was able to get into the Wi-Fi at work and play it.
Nice, dude.
It was kind of fun one day.
I think you're giving Lito ideas here.
Too many.
Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi at the hospital I was working at was not the best. And so I would get a lot of like crashing right as I was about to leave a mission. It was really annoying. So I don't really do that anymore. So I'm a level 50 on PlayStation, but I'm like a level 7 on PC. So we are all weak in the eyes of war. Joel giveth, Joel taketh away. I don't know.
What are your personal thoughts about Joel, since we're talking about Joel real quick?
I think Joel is the best antagonist of 2024 as far as I'm concerned. And like I'm not the most experienced with games like D&D, and I've never played Warhammer. But the way that Arrowhead and Joel are handling this, if I were younger, this would be the thing that made me pick up a Warhammer set, or this would be the thing that got me back into D&D, because I feel like Joel is kind of a benevolent troll. Right. Like I think in your last show you were talking about people taunting Joel.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Because I think I honestly let it happen and see what kind of prize you get for playing games, because what he did was he gave us a major order that was completely incompletable. There was no way we were actually going to complete that, because everyone said, oh, it's 2 planets, we got this. What they didn't realize is those 2 planets were behind 3 others.
Yeah.
So you had to go liberate 3 others to get to those 2 and then finish the job. But yeah, so I love how they're leaning into that, but also like you see a direct like argument happening between the community and Joel. It's not just the people complaining about the railgun. It's like and then there are the people cosplaying as like bugs and automatons, which is chef's kiss. This is one of the most interesting game experiences I've ever had in my life, just watching this stuff unfold. And I think it's absolutely glorious. So what do I think of it? Keep doing it. Let's see what happens. Why not? I would like an actual appearance of Joel, but not like the dude that is Joel, but like behind like a facade, like the Wizard of Oz or something like that. Like, I am Joel, I am in control, something like that. I don't know. So
is Joel, in your opinion, is Joel a dev or is he an AI, or
I think Joel's a real person? I think Joel's a real dude or a real person.
A real person?
Yeah, a real person for sure.
That's even cooler, I think, than an AI. I think
100%.
That would be, wow.
I mean, part of me thinks that when pre-release, when Arrowhead was out there talking about Joel, like they didn't give Joel a name. They said, no, there's a real person just sort of watching this stuff, and they're a game master. So that's awesome. So they're going to be coordinating this stuff. And I think that that's the way to do it. The first game had things like that, but it was just baked into the code. So you'd kind of get a sense that it was going to happen right before it did. And it was mostly just like, hey, defend this for extra XP or something like that. So after they increased the level cap beyond 50, you would do those missions to try and get yourself to 100.
Very good.
Or however high the level cap went. I don't remember how high it ended up going.
So, Mike, do you got any questions for Matthew here?
Not really. We've kind of covered everything.
Very good.
So no, I don't have any questions right now, but I do have a couple of things I want to touch on before we get going. The flying bug variants that Johan was saying was just a bunch of propaganda, dissident propaganda. They've been confirmed.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen them. I've fought them.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had time ourselves to get out there and get slaughtered by them, but they look terrifying and they look absolutely awful.
So they're not as annoying as a group of like 10 or 15 hunters.
Oh, I hate hunter. Oh my gosh.
Hunters.
I saw a poll on YouTube and like it was like, what's the most annoying?
The most annoying are the most annoying term in it is definitely the hunters
by far.
The scariest thing is a stalker.
Oh yeah.
I just remember the stalkers in the first game. They were trivial. You could melee those things. It was great. Like, oh, this invisible guy's coming, and it goes away.
Now, see, I really did not get that far in the first game. I played it almost entirely by myself, and I think we've talked about this before, but there was one time I got 3 other friends to join me in the first game, and we just got annihilated, and they never played it with me again. Now, a bunch of those same people are playing this game, but not with me. What's that about?
Their loss. Just saying.
So,
I mean, I've played with you twice, and it's been delightful both times. I don't know what their problem is.
Thank you. Except for the time I had to shoot you in the face.
I mean, I was stuck in the water.
Even that was kind of delightful.
I mean, we've all seen Starship Troopers. You know what you have to do.
Hell yeah.
That's right. When you're out there, it's not about morality. It's just about getting the job done.
Everybody fights. Nobody quits.
There you go.
That's right. So my last point was that an article was recently released by IGN saying that this game is pay to win and they don't understand how the players are supporting a game that is pay to win when they freak out over every other game having similar mechanics. So your thoughts?
Do you want me to go, Lito, or did you want to?
I'll go real quick.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see the pay to win at all. Like, I don't even, like, what does that mean, pay to win? Like, you got to pay to get the better gear and stuff?
Yeah, basically.
Well, no, because you can use the super credits that you unlock to pay for a whole nother war bond.
Right.
So it's like you just got to play to win. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Matthew?
So I think the thing here, as somebody who spent time in the music critic world, you have to define what your term is. What does pay to win mean? I briefly read this article like a while back. I don't remember everything because I've got other things to do during the day. But when I did read this, I'm like, this isn't pay to win like a phone game, like Clash of Clans or Clash Royale or anything like that.
Boom Beach. Oh.
This isn't pay to win like Candy Crush, where you're on Facebook trolling for lives or whatever.
It's not even pay to win like Call of Duty.
And I don't know how Call of Duty is pay to win because I haven't played Call of Duty since I think Black Ops 3.
So this brings up something I wanted to bring up. I was just going through, I don't know how I got this, the Helldivers Reddit. There's a post labeled PSA, beware. It's in red. It says, I want to play specifically to engage in PvP. My main concern is I need a way to signify to other divers that I'm a rogue, and I don't intend to ruin the game. I just like the idea of going rogue as a Helldiver. Not even a sympathizer with the enemy. I want to claim the planets for myself. F the bugs, F the robots, most importantly, F you. I want Dark Souls style invasions, but still targeted by the enemy, which can't tell the difference between one human or 3. Yeah, so that's like straight up this person's what they want, from Helldivers, which is, I don't think anything what the devs kind of intended.
I don't think that'll happen unless they are financially incentivized to do so. But also, like, my joke response is, why are you so angry? Why are you so mad?
Yeah.
Well, this is one of those situations, in my opinion, where it's like, if you want something that different from the game you're playing, you play a different game.
Yeah.
Like,
it's that simple.
You're asking for something that is not the game you're playing.
One of the things I would notice listening to video game criticism or reading video game criticism, middling writers would get stuck on what they wanted a game to be, not what a game is.
Right.
And they would spend paragraphs just saying, well, if it was this way, it would be better. And you can't do that. I mean, you can, and I think there's an articulate way to do that. But if your only motivation for playing a thing that is assigned to you to review or whatever is getting hung up on what you want to play rather than what you are playing, that should feed into, like, this isn't doing anything. Now, there is a way, lore-wise, that could make this happen. And I'm thinking specifically about the first game, about the Illuminates. Because there was a thing in the first game where an Illuminate could basically mess with a Helldiver, and all of a sudden their controls didn't work right.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You see?
No. My controller was like, my left trigger was like making me like go prone. Is that what you're talking about?
It's no. In the first game, it was actually pretty choreographed once you figured it out. Like, if I don't remember what it was, but there was an Illuminate that could basically mind control you, and all of a sudden moving forward made you move backward, moving right made you move left, and things like that. Like, that was the thing. You just had to figure it out for like the 30 seconds it lasted.
That's amazing. That's pretty cool.
It was a silly thing, but like, that is the way that they could somehow shoehorn something like that here.
Wow. Messing with controllers reminds me of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. I mean, it was like the Metal Gear, it was the Psycho Mantis fight. It was Eternal Darkness, where like the game seemed to be messing with you. And you're like, I don't know. I'm not supposed to be thinking like this. I'm supposed to be having fun. Why is this making me crazy? There's so much creative potential here.
For real. I'm excited.
The fact that there's speculation that there's already like one chunk of the map in your ship that is not occupied, which is obvious that they're going to bring the Illuminates back. Like, and that was one of the things I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see how they update the Illuminates.
You got to understand, from like somebody who's like brand new to this franchise, it's a brand new thing. It's not even like the mechs came down. I had no idea mechs were involved. Like, So when they like put the call out to go to mechs, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. I was at work. I was like, I can't even get to my controller in time. But and then they were already like unleashed. It made me want to go and play the game. So I'm like, oh, I got to go see how that works.
I'm looking at Helldivers.io way too much. Like my coworker's like, what's that? I'm like, you really don't want to know. I don't want to tell you because I'm afraid my sickness will be transferred. You don't need this in your life. But it's fun as hell. When they announced that mechs were coming shortly after, and then it was literally just the exosuit from the first game that I remember unlocking and being so happy. Like, that was my little robot buddy. And everyone's like, is it going to be like Titanfall? I go, no, it's not going to be like Titanfall. But it's nevertheless cool as hell. And I can't wait to see what they do with the other mechs that were in the first game. But like, oh yeah, there were there were other vehicles in the first game. You could summon, and I think it was I think they called it an APC, where it was basically a 6-wheeled vehicle that 4 people could hop in. It had a tank turret. Like, it was, they did some stuff in the first game.
That was my moment of glory in the first game, was riding in the APC with some randoms, and we just annihilated everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. I'm hoping that speculation on a 4th and possibly a 5th enemy type comes into play. I would that would really make me happy, because I want to see. I want this developer to continue cooking. I want to see what they can do. I want to see how much they can add to this universe, because ultimately the universe is endless.
Right.
All right, Lito.
Right on.
I think we got a handful of ship names that were
for real
dialed in.
Ship names. We surely do. Let me punch them up here on my trusty puncher upper thing.
Here, I'm going to go to Stratagem Hero right now. We're going to find them.
And then it's just funny that we mentioned this because we actually called out your ship there, Matthew,
yes.
right?
The Fist of Audacity.
Nice. Is there a reason why you went with that name?
Honestly, I scrolled through the choices and I saw Fist. I'm like, okay, we'll see where this goes. This is probably going to be terrible. And then I saw Of Audacity. I'm like, yep, that's the one. That's the one.
Sometimes you just know.
I feel like your ship name actually, I mean, it's all these random things that you can put together, but I think at the end of the day, I think it might say a little bit about, the person. I mean,
that's true. No, 100%. So I told my partner what my ship name was. She's like, yeah, that checks out.
That's funny. Yeah, man, it's just another way of the devs like getting into like knowing their people, knowing their audience, knowing their gamers guys. And
also understanding the beauty of limitation too. Like where you have to do this and you have to make those combinations. You can't just type in, this is my ship, XX Bong Slayer 420 or whatever.
Right. Yeah, because it's all like it's all the names make sense in the universe that they built. Right. So here we go. We got Paragon of Duty.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Dawn of Destruction.
Nice. I like service.
I love the names that like paint a picture in my head. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Dawn of Destruction. I can see that. I can see that. Visually put that in my head. Wings of Midnight.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. Thank you, Corey, for that one. Wings of Authority.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
And then we got Queen of the Stars.
Oh, I like that one too.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
And then, so here we go. Princess of Destruction.
Nice.
That's got like a little beauty and then like, destruction,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's, it's got like both things in there. It's got
it's the dichotomy of life, the beauty and the beast.
Exactly. I got to get to this one. So like two more. Can you give me two more, Mike? I got Soul of Midnight. And then the last one.
Full name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's okay. Cool.
Contemplative.
I like it. And then I was like, when I saw this as one of the choices, I'm like, how is this going to work? But I thought it was kind of fun. So it's a Fist of Family Values. So when I saw Family Values as one of the choices, I'm like, that's going to be like.
That's an 80s kid right there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous. That's a good one.
Oh man, so that's a great one. I think to end.
I shouldn't like that as much as I do, but I do. Kudos and thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. All right, is it time to go play?
Oh, it's time.
I never stopped. I'm still playing.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for checking in. Everybody on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're commenting or listening. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Keep up the interaction. Keep sending us your ship names.
Yes.
And we'll keep calling them out.
Absolutely. I want to personally thank Matthew for taking the time and, being on the show here, and hope to have you on soon. Don't be a stranger.
I won't be. Just at any. I think I said we guys. I'm like, yeah, any episode you want me on, I'll be on.
Because we might be tackling some subjects where like I think we need to bring in the expert.
Bring in the Skull Admiral.
Bring in the because
reinforcing.
We'll just call in the Keith David quote. Welcome to hell.
Nice. All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. All right. We're out. All Super Earth podcast content is based on the game Helldivers 2, created by Arrowhead Game Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment.